there are just some maps that just immediately click. You load in, and once the load screen fades into the actual map, all of a sudden you hear the jets screaming overhead, see dirt bikes flying across the landscape, tanks shooting off in the distance, and of course, the in-game comms chatter by the voice actors. And somewhere in that distance, amid the tanks firing salvos, the explosions, and buildings collapsing, a train is heading back and forth between two HQ areas. And the funny thing is, the moment I loaded into Railway to Golmud earlier yesterday, I immediately realized this wasn't just some copy-paste nostalgia play from DICE. The map is different. Bigger, louder, more open, more everything. And honestly, I had a damn good time playing it. Not because I went 97-3, no, I'm not that kind of player. Not because I was sweating my ass off trying to PTFO like my mortgage depended on it, but because for the first time in a while, Battlefield 6 actually felt like Battlefield again. Big maps, big vehicles, all that controlled chaos we've grown to love. Jets roaring over your head while half the server is trying to fight over a moving train in the middle of the landscape. And today, we're talking about why this map works for me. Now, before we get too deep into this thing, I gotta give the usual disclaimer for the new folks wandering into the channel. It's quick, but it's very important. We don't do the whole rage bait slop, this game is dead, screaming at the camera routine around here. We're all very aware that Battlefield 6 isn't perfect. There are still weird moments, there are still things that absolutely need to be cleaned up. But that's not the point here, kiddos. A lot of us here are still genuinely having a good time playing this game. And that's what this channel is built around. Hanging out, playing games we enjoy, and talking about the good, the bad, and the weird shit in between without having a meltdown over dumb shit. And today is one of those sessions where Battlefield actually reminded me of why I fell in love with this franchise to begin with. So, if you want the rage slop, or if having a good time playing a video game isn't your thing, this isn't the channel for you, my dudes, and you should probably evac now. Okay, now that that's out of the way, onward! Man, I have been waiting for new content just as much as everyone else. I've spoken before of the anticipated map layout and size, and even poked fun at some of the doomsayers when they kept talking about the map's reduction from the original Battlefield 4 layout. But we're not doing that today. I've said my piece about it, and now that it's finally here, we could talk about that now instead of back then. I spent a shit ton of time on Contaminated and Hagatal Base, easily my top 2 favorite maps so far. Operation Augur was an absolute joy because it combined my favorite maps together into one very long match. And I really enjoyed the vibe and the atmosphere of those maps. Railway to Golmud is probably going to take the 3rd spot in my favorite maps right now. After loading in, it just seems bigger than the original. I mean, I know it's not, it just seems that way. When I loaded in, the map was already underway. I wanted to get a bird's eye view first, so luckily there was a helicopter I could spawn into. Now, that didn't last very long as the chopper was targeted, so I bailed out and landed at the north side of the map. Immediately there was the voice-acted comms, the chopper flying past where I landed, and the scream of jets and jet fire. Distant explosions and shelling. The sound was just great in my headset. So much for a decent length of airtime from a bird's eye view, but that's fine. It is what it is. Now, in Battlefield 4, the movement on the ground is a bit clunky compared to Battlefield 6. Even the sprinting in Battlefield 4 is a bit slow. It made for a long exposure out in the open. So there was this perception of taking forever hoofing it from one point to another. In 6, however, the sprinting mechanic is a bit faster and the movement is a lot more fluid, but running around here, it still felt like it was taking way longer than I had anticipated. Now, that's not a complaint, it's just an observation. An observation that made me think. What did they do to this map in its design to make it look or feel like it takes the same amount of time to get from one point to the other? And I find that very interesting. Remember, folks, this isn't a remastered map. It's a redesign. The IEDs are missing. Some of the buildings have changed. The train has been reworked. Some of the landscape even looks different. Even the train track got an upgrade. Some of the capture points have been tweaked a little bit, so they made changes. And honestly, the only thing I'm going to miss is the IEDs. They brought a little extra spice to the sessions we jammed with in Battlefield 4. But it's not an overt complaint by any stretch of the word. From a lore perspective, I could see why they're absent. From an engagement point of view, however, I could see why they could have left them in. Anyway, this redesign map, made me think and remember to adjust my approach. For the most part, Battlefield 6, I typically run assault or support, with the engineer as a close third option. And just out of sheer habit, I loaded in as assault. I mean, the daily challenges also played a part in that, but I digress. This map invites players to really strap on their engineer and sniper boots. There's room for assault and support, sure, but it leans much more into the sniper and engineer classes. Unlike Myrick Valley or Contaminated, there's really not as many options to hide your chopper or jets. And unlike Firestorm or Contaminated, there's not a lot of elevated positions for sniping. This map is a nice balance in that regard, and I think that removing the 4-story warehouse structure from Battlefield 4 was a smart move. Sniping from there was a bit too easy. You only had to worry about choppers and someone coming up the line or the ladder, and the really well-placed tanker who got a bead on you. Counter-sniping from that structure wasn't as easy, with everything else trying to kill you as fast as possible while scoping in patiently. Besides, most snipers had a spawn beacon out of sight up there and abused its hiding spot. So the layout is much more streamlined and balanced, in my opinion. Now bear with me here, let me provide a bit of context. In a map like Eastwood, there's about 3 sections of that map that are urban CQB areas where most of the engagement happens. In Golmud, you still have 3 sections, but it's spread out further apart than Eastwood. It's just a different vibe, more akin to Battlefield 4 in that respect. Eastwood doesn't have that same vibe. You still end up using the same 3 lanes or so in Eastwood, whereas Golmud, there's much more room to breathe and approach. Coming from the same direction isn't always the same as coming from the same 3 lanes. And Golmud allows for many options for your approach, which I found to be a more welcome change of pace. I didn't really get this vibe with Operation Firestorm when the game launched. Again, not a complaint, still an observation. Firestorm got some tweaks to get engagement started sooner than its original launch in Battlefield 3, and 4's version was literally just a copy-paste from 3. And I get why they made the changes to Firestorm for Battlefield 6. I don't consider it a bad choice, as it gave the map a different experience. But Golmud looks and feels like it did back then, even with the minor changes. It even has more scale and destruction than the original, which I have 0 complaints over. For you pilots out there, it looks like the skies are wide open, choppers or jets. The tankers get their miles and their kills just tearing ass across the fields and into the complexes and the road where Alpha and Bravo live. Plenty of space and parking for the dirt bikes and jeeps. And for the infantry players, lots and lots of corners, hidey holes, and cover to fuck up somebody's day. Shit, man, they even added zip lines and shit. My match just vibed, my dudes. They took a classic map and made some minor tweaks, brought it up to spec, and let it loose for us. And I had a blast in it. I plan on checking this map out in their other modes and see how well it plays out for them. I think they got it right with this map, I really do. This is how I remember playing Battlefield 4. Open, loud, and back to form. This makes me even more excited for Season 4's Naval Warfare. Guys, I mentioned before that Battlefield 6 has the potential to eventually get on the podium with the Bad Company through Bad Company 2 era of the franchise. The content drop may have been rough for some players, whether it's the design of the maps or the deployment cadence. I don't absolutely hate any map the game has dropped so far, but I do prefer some of the maps for certain modes rather than outright hating them. Blackwell Fields is a prime example. Breakthrough? No problems. Conquest? I really hate that ridge. Eastwood wasn't bad, as it was leaning in the direction in regards to size people have been asking for, and Eastwood, for me, has that odd spot where the map really isn't all that different to me across multiple modes, whether that's Conquest, Breakthrough, Rush, whatever. But it's just not in my top 5 of maps. New Sobek City has grown on me. This was an odd map from the start, but once I figured it out, I didn't mind it very much. Again, not in my top 5, but I don't sigh and roll my eyes at it anymore when it comes up in the rotation. Merrick Valley, however, is a top 5 for me. The trench area reminds me of Battlefield 1, the middle reminds me of elements of Gulf of Oman's construction site, the toll booth area of Caspian border, and the Alpha control point of Firestorm. And the opposite side of the map reminds me of segments of Lansing Dam. No, I'm not saying they are all those things, just that the layouts remind me of them. But Golmud brought Golmud, and I think a better version of it. This is looking to easily be my third favorite map. I plan to immediately check out how it vibes with other modes and see where that goes. I'm not going to waste any time here today diving into things like this is how 6 should have launched or we need more of this. We're here to play, not prosecute a game, Your Honor. This was just my intro into not only Season 3, but also the map. And right now, I thoroughly enjoyed the intro. I ran around a lot on this map to try and see all the things they did as much as I could without getting my ass shot off. The map looks gorgeous. It feels big, and the Charlie train capture point was kind of fun, even if I was being sandwiched between two tanks. The original map had a lot of headaches for me in certain areas, the warehouse and central control points being the most troublesome areas for me back then. I had some concerns about it when they announced the map's return, but I didn't get that feeling this time around, and I think it's due to the redesign of the buildings and the areas those control points are located. I think in the old map, Bravo was the warehouse capture point. So many ways to camp and hide and peek around just enough to get the target looking for you and killing him before he killed you. Delta just simply got flattened with the levolution mechanic and that often made it difficult to sneak up on a camper. By replacing the old structures with a Firestorm-style building, it makes it more even trying to find campers and camping. I even found it funny, like a lot of places in the United States, the road construction wasn't even finished 13 years later. There's a lot going on here, and it was just fucking fun, my dudes. We look to finally have a proper big Battlefield map, and I am down with it. And I would be very happy to see this trend in design continue, new maps or redesigned ones. And it's more than just map size for me, it's the vibe. Season 4's Naval Warfare's advertising is being even bigger than this map. As curious as I am about how they're going to make it even bigger, I am hoping the vibe continues. More of this, please. More of this allows me personally to appreciate the smaller maps a bit more. That may not make a lot of sense to some of you, but hear me out. Battlefield has always had a mix of CQB and open area AoE maps. Only recently has the smaller maps come under severe scrutiny. I'm not here to debate the whys of that, I simply do not care. But when you have a good balance of CQB and larger maps, the smaller maps don't seem so bad or small as much, in my opinion. I could spend an entire day playing big maps and then go, I kind of want to take a quick break from running around this map like a madman and go back to Hagenthal for a little while. Then, get that out of my system and come back to the larger maps. Rinse and repeat. That's how it is for me. And I knew, based on historical examples, that Battlefield 6 would bring the mix again. We just needed to wait. They say patience is a virtue. And I think the patience is paying off. If this is the start of the rest of the year, I am all for it. This is a big map to share with my hood rats, my Discord members, and my squad. Another map to fuck shit up in and leave. More RPGs, more chopper hunting, so much hood rat shit in one map. I have enjoyed my experiences so far of Battlefield 6, and the launch of Season 3 has simply added to that enjoyment. I plan on having a ball with it. The question now is, what's next in store for us with the rest of the season and the rest of the year? Looks like good times with my players. Looks like good times indeed. Oh my, look at the time. Closing time again. Last call, folks. We're looking to return to form, and it looks as though we're going to have a good time. If you're still here taking your last sips of digital beer with me, hang on just for a moment longer. I very much appreciate that some of you have stayed seated to hang out with me a little longer, even though it's pretty much about the channel things and not the video itself. Man, check out my channel members. Sure, we only have a handful right now, but they continually support this channel every month. They stubbornly support the channel, as they want it to grow, and they help keep the lights on. It's a huge help to me, and it allows me to keep going here. If you're interested in seeing your name immortalized with theirs, check out the Members tab. Be part of the vibe. Whether it's Battlefield 6 or whatever, the chapter platoons on PlayStation and Xbox are all about that vibe. They are always recruiting for those who want to join, not only for this game, but any game. Several members and subscribers suggested multiple ways of supporting the channel outside memberships, such as the ones you see here on the screen. Some choose to join, some choose to send donations like a tip jar. So they are listed here. If you yourself have suggestions for channel support, feel free to let me know. And my Discord is always open 24/7 if you want to hang out. We have discussions about the games we play and the controversial takes, like even though I am a Nine Inch Nails fan, I don't think they surpassed Pretty Hate Machine as an album's worth of content. I said what I said. X is the only social outside YouTube that I have right now. If you wish to follow, I would not be adverse to it. There is a Twitch account, but real life has not been cooperative enough for me to start streaming again yet. I haven't purposely allowed it to collect dust, it's just that life logistics have temporarily gotten in the way. We plan on doing it, but we're in the middle of moving again, so it's just not something I have room on my plate for right now. If you're interested in this channel streaming, dudes, tell me. Feel free to give me details of what you expect from it. I created a merch store a long while back based on community feedback. Hood Rat shit gear like t-shirts, mugs, decals. There's even a new Hood Rat Division t-shirt out now. I am still working on the most requested items like coasters, keychains, and lanyards. However, the current store does not carry these items right now, and we're looking at options. And if you want to squad up, here's my gamer tag. I'm always down to shoot things with anybody who wants to squad up. These plugs I've mentioned are just ways for me to continue spreading the vibe of the channel, not just here on YouTube, but also on X and Twitch once it's back up and running. And the merch store is there for you to join in on the cool kids club, so to speak. Hood Rat shit gear, clubhouse passwords, and secret handshakes. It's all part of the whole we're here for the vibe, good times, and sharing it with good people thing. Okay, the last thing, and then I will let you go. Each month, this channel spotlights a military support group or charity. For May, the spotlight is on Military One Source. Details for this group is located at the very bottom of the video description if you want to check it out. This channel supports our troops and their families. And that's it, my dudes. This concludes the briefing. Now you could turn in your tab and make your way home or back to work, whichever the case may be. Make sure you get home safe so you can log in and continue to kill things. Friday, we come back to Lemang for some more gray zone warfare. A lot of you out there seem to dig it, so I'll keep posting it. Until the next one, out.
Objective!